With the fall of the Weinstein Company, the rights to Scream was purchased by Spyglass Media in 2019, and it did not take them long to announce that Scream would be coming back. And within 5 months of their purchase, it was announced that Kevin Williamson would return as an executive producer, David Arquette and Courtney Cox were going to reprise their roles, and Matt and Tyler of Radio Silence would be directing. In a first for the franchise, Scream 5 would have the benefit of not having the weight of the Weinstein Company bearing down on them, allowing the writers and the directors to have more control over the film. Scream 5, however, did not avoid having to face its own hurdles. Production was delayed due to a global pandemic, forcing the studio to push out the release of the film, and the new writers and directors were tasked with bringing back their final girl, Sidney Prescott. Here are 5 behind-the-scenes stories about the evolution of Scream 5 that you may never have,
or probably,
heard of.
Number 5. After purchasing the rights, Spyglass's first challenge would be bringing Scream alumni back into the fold, without Wes Craven, who passed away in 2015 due to a brain tumor.
He meant so much to me. He was my mentor. He taught me so much. He was my entree into this business, and he stayed that hero in my eyes for the rest of his life.
He was silly, he was serious, he was loving, he was caring. He was almost like a father figure in so many ways. He would sit and just like share his wisdom, but he'd also love to go out and have a glass of wine and be silly. He was just an incredible person. How
much Wes had an impression on him, and how much they wanted to honor him with the making of this film and continue it, and that really touched me. That like myself, they'd been touched by Wes's work and were huge fans of his.
He had a twisted sense of humor, and he had a sweet, sweet soul. He really did. He was respectful, loving, like a father in a lot of ways to all of us, and mischievous, and so talented, and gave me my first lead in a film.
Scream was a rare franchise where it featured a director who had been a part of every sequel, and there was love and loyalty to him that remained after he passed. Writer James Vanderbilt first approached Kevin Williamson with a completed script and asked him to return to the franchise, but Kevin rejected it on the grounds that he would not be involved with the franchise without Wes.
So yeah, I took it really hard when he passed, and so when they approached me, when Jamie Vanderbilt approached me about it, I was like, no. I mean, I just said no. I didn't want to hear about it. I didn't want to know about it. I said, you guys go make a great movie, and I'll see it.
After some second thoughts, Kevin decided to hear him out and met with writers James and Guy Busick, where they proposed to him what they wanted to do with the film and also their commitment to staying true to what Wes Craven would have done. From there, Kevin met with directors Matt and Tyler, and it was then that he was sold on coming back.
I just woke up one morning and said, what am I doing? They're gonna make another Scream. Do you really want them to make another Scream and you not be a part of it? And so I called Jamie up in the moment and said, I wanna do it. And he was like, oh, great, that's awesome. I said, one condition. Can we please dedicate the film to Wes?
Number 4.
Like Kevin, Neve Campbell was hesitant about returning to the franchise without Craven. Directors Matt and Tyler, being lifelong fans, made it a priority to bring her back.
We were just point blank, like, listen, we can't do this movie without you. Like, this is not a...
Yeah, it was like real talk.
Yeah, it was like all the bullshit aside, you are the movie. Like, because again, from us, from Guy and Jamie, we're all fans and we know it from the outside in. She knows it from the inside out.
But the selling point for her return came in a letter that they wrote her expressing their love for Wes Craven, the franchise, and how, if it wasn't for Wes, they would not have gone into filmmaking.
I had been apprehensive about doing another one without Wes, but Matt and Tyler sent me a really beautiful letter expressing how they became directors and were making this movie because of these films, and that they were huge fans of Wes, and that they really wanted to honor him and honor his voice. And that meant the world to me to read that letter. So that was definitely a big selling point for me.
Number 3. While in this episode of the Pop 5, we refer to Scream 2022 as Scream 5, as we all know, the official title of the film is just Scream. This was done with a specific reason, and keeping true to the franchise's roots. It was explained in the film, but you might have missed it.
You can't just reboot a franchise from scratch anymore. The fans won't stand for it. Black Christmas, Child's Play, Flatliners, that shit doesn't work. But you can't just do a straight sequel either. You gotta build something new, but not too new, or the internet goes bug fucking nuts. It's gotta be part of an ongoing storyline, even if the story shouldn't have been ongoing in the first place. New main characters, yes, but supported by and related to legacy characters. Not quite a reboot, not quite a sequel.
Tyler explains.
Fun about calling this one Scream is that there was a way for us to organically, in the movie, because what the movie's about, because of fan culture, because of requels, to call it Scream and then shine a light on why it's called Scream within the movie, so that the movie is making fun of itself for being called the same thing as the original.
Number 2.
Keeping with the tradition started with Scream 2, multiple versions of the script were created with 2 major changes to the script never being filmed. The first being the on-screen return of Kirby Reed, where we would have seen the YouTube video that would accompany the thumbnail Easter egg on Richie's computer. She would be getting interviewed by Rian Johnson. The other change was around the relationship between Tara and Amber. The opening scene would have been longer, and the text exchange between the two of them would have been a bit more flirtatious. In one text, Tara would try to entice Amber into coming over by sending her a picture of her breast instead of the aforementioned unlocked liquor cabinet. In the Scream 5 that we saw, we see an overly concerned Amber ensuring that Tara has her inhaler. Only in the original version there was no inhaler. Tara had gifted a necklace that belonged to her father to Amber. During the hospital scene, Amber offers it back to Tara, but she tells her to keep it. Fast forward ahead, moving into the third act, we see Richie, Sam, and Tara leaving Woodsboro. Tara tells Sam and Richie that she needs to go back to Amber's house so that she can get the necklace, and when she finds Amber at the party, they head up to her room and begin making out. The similarities between their relationship with Billy and Sydney's was too much and was cut because of it.
Number 1. Only a handful of alternate endings are currently known at this time. The first revolving around who lives and who dies. Originally, Chad Meeks would have died due to the severity of his wounds. However, the charm and charisma of this character, portrayed by Mason Gooding, made Matt and Tyler reconsider their decision so that he could continue on in future installments. Paramount, like Courtney Cox and Neve Campbell, were saddened by the death of Dewey, and at the request of the studio, Matt and Tyler filmed an additional scene where he survived his attack, which might also explain why we see one body bag leave the hospital when there were 2 victims.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
In this scene, Sydney and Gail are speaking to a doctor at the hospital who tells them he woke up from surgery, he's gonna be fine. During the scene, just over Gail's shoulder, you would see Dewey's legs and feet in a hospital bed. Despite shooting it, Matt said that they never had any intention of using the scene and purposely shot it in poor quality to avoid having to. Alternate versions of the scripts were given to the cast with the intention of keeping them guessing as to who the real killers in the film would be, producer William Sherrick stated. The fun of a Scream movie is that everyone is guilty until proven innocent, not the other way around. So the goal is to keep that going for as long as possible and have fun with it. Melissa Barrera revealed to The Hollywood Reporter that in her script, the killers were either Amber and Mindy.
I mean, how do you know I'm not the killer?
Because I am.
were Amber and Liv.
Something your brother, huh? You think I'm gonna cut you up?
A little bit now, yeah.
I thought you said I was too boring to be the killer. Maybe that's the twist.
Which excited her to see a finale with 2 female antagonists.
That was one of the things that stuck out to me in this movie was the one body bag and Dewey coming out. But I do wholeheartedly believe that he is dead.
I'm not there yet.
You're still recovering?
I'm not recovering, I'm in denial. And I will be the first one to admit that he probably is dead, but I cannot let go. Dewey was not my favorite character from the beginning, but he grew on me, and he's Dewey, and I love him, and I was devastated to see that they killed. I cried. I ugly cried in the theater. I don't care. Every time I see the movie, I've seen it 8 times, and I've cried every time. Or I've seen it 10 times. I don't know
You've
anymore.
seen it a lot.
It's been a lot. That's all I know.
That was just 8 times in the theater.
That's true. I've seen it 8 times in the theater, so it could be over 10 at this point that I've seen it total. And I cry every time, even though I know it's coming. And I am still in denial, and so is our 13-year-old daughter. She's like, Mom, there was one body bag, and we know the other cop was dead.
That scene is probably the best scene in the entire franchise, the way it was shot, the way he went out. It was just amazing. They honored the character. They didn't make him go out like a chump. And if they were to undo it, I think it just totally shits all over that movie, that scene, and it just really devalues everything about that movie.
And for Dewey as a character, this was by far his best performance. From beginning to his demise, it was his best performance.
Mm-hmm. Now, I do believe that maybe there could have been a third killer in this film, and maybe they just weren't acting and killing people, but my God, that basement scene where Mindy and Amber are in there, and Mindy goes, well, I'm the killer. It's like, oh, shit!
Yeah, and it
was... Oh my God,
yes.
My mind exploded.
Well, exactly, and because if you remember, when she said, well, I'm the killer, Amber's face was like, what the fuck?
This is one of the things that I wanted to see in the Scream franchise for a long time, is that you have Ghostface killers operating outside of each other.
He talks about it all the time.
I thought I got it in that moment because that would have just been epic.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, that really would have. I mean, that would have been definitely different and super surprising because even Amber was like, "Oh shit," because like Amber knows she's the killer or one of the killers, and now she's like, where'd this come from? Like, now I gotta compete against you, and I don't want you to know yet that I'm a killer, but you're also a killer? So, yeah.
So we dive into the 3 killer theory a little bit. You can go search that Scream video along with all of our other Scream content and see what's out there, because we have Easter eggs, we have theories, we have reviews, we have top 5s. There's a lot of content out there about Scream right now, and we really tear apart that whole 3 killer theory in Scream 5.
Yes, we have a lot of Scream content.
As far as anything else goes, the thing that kind of pisses me off is like, oh yeah, this franchise is Sydney's. We can't do this without you. It's not the same without you. And here we're going into Scream 6 without Sydney, without Neve Campbell. I feel bad for being excited to see Scream 6 without her, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Scream 6. I am still very bothered by the fact that Neve is not a part of it, especially when you read all this stuff about how they didn't want to make the film without her, and yet they didn't fight hard enough to keep her.
Oh, well, we don't know what happened behind closed doors with that one jerkwad.
Yeah, I don't know. I am still sore and disappointed that Sydney will not even be like in a little part of it. Like, just one scene would have been good, just so that it was still Sid. And I really, really hope that she shows up in the future, because I just feel like, first of all, there's no closure, right? That's the big thing. There is no closure.
Pay her the money.
Yes, pay her.
Anyway, did we miss any facts that you would have included into this video? Let us know by dropping it in the comments. And don't forget, it is the quest for 5,000 subscribers, and you can help us get there by
liking, subscribing, and sharing.
Yes. Please don't underestimate how important that like and comment is on the video. It helps us a great deal. And if you've noticed a little bit different of a quality and tone in these videos, it's because you helped us get a new mic. So thank you. We appreciate it. And we want to give stuff back to you. So every video that gets 25 likes and 25 comments, we'll send out some prizes. And once we hit 100 likes and 100 comments, we'll send out a bigger prize. And when we hit 5,000 subscribers and you've commented and you liked, you have a chance to win this box of Strawberries and Scream cereal signed by
Matthew Lillard and David Arquette, and not available in the US.
Anyway, until the next Pop 5.
See ya.